Sup everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about not Tignari, but I just have him on screen because he's going to be the closest to the character that we're talking about, which is Alhaitham. Now, yes, I have purposely angled the camera with us looking up at Tignari, or if you think from Tignari's perspective, it's him essentially looking down upon us. Well, not just us, the players, but us, quite literally everything in Genshin Impact, including the characters, the elements, and reactions. Okay, I get it. Maybe I'm overselling him a little bit, but the whole point of this intro right here is that when it comes to reactions and meta stuff, Dendro really has a leg up on everything else, and it should be. It's a newer designed element. It was meant to revigorate people's interest into Genshin Impact, get older players coming back, having newer players able to pick up something that is immensely powerful. Did I mention immensely powerful? Yes, Dendro reactions are like the best things we have next to Archons. And people now would say, oh, well, Walrus, you're overselling. No, I am really not overselling. Okay, I'm getting a little awkward looking at Tignari from here, so let's just bring the camera back up a little bit here. There we go, much better. Anyways, yes, Dendro reactions are some of the most powerful ones we have in the game, but to compensate for that, individual Dendro characters oftentimes don't have good scaling. We have yet to have a Dendro character who can really pull their own weight, let's say in a mono Dendro team. That team just doesn't exist, and if it did, it would really waste a lot of potential when it comes to the Dendro element. It's an element that was designed for reactions, okay? And similarly to other elements that have been designed for reactions, the characters themselves just don't feel like they can output much without reactions. Now, we have to talk about Alhaitham. Here's the thing about Alhaitham, right? Alhaitham likely is going to be a character that rivals Tignari in the role of an on-field Dendro DPS that synergizes with Aggravate, maybe Spread, or Hyper Bloom, you know, all the givings and takings. But the potential of Alhaitham with, let's say, a Burning comp, Virgin comp, we don't know that yet. Tignari and Alhaitham might share similarities in that going forward as well. But the thing with people saying that, well, Alhaitham is mid, or at least people say data shows he's gonna be mid. And even without data and leaks, I've said in my previous videos that characters who are extremely exciting for players to pick up, right? Alhaitham, Yaimiko, Sino, oftentimes meet an end where they get released as very mediocre characters, because to Hoyoverse, they don't really need power to sell these characters. They don't need a character that's just blowing the rooftops off and having people flock to them like moth at a fire, because the characters themselves inherently are so popular that even if they perform like absolute crap, there's still gonna be a ton of people pulling them. There are people watching right now who have willingly pulled characters that they knew were not strong characters, but they did it because they just like the characters, right? Same case with Alhaitham, Sino, and Yaimiko, all these characters. So that's why even without leaks, you should anticipate popular characters being released to not be very powerful. So similarly, once Deja rolls around, you can expect the same thing. I think Deja is gonna meet a worse end than Alhaitham and Sino, to be honest with you guys. What likely they'll do with Deja is they'll release her as a character that feels somewhat decent, but would require other really powerful characters or other 4-stars with high constellations to really bring her up to spec, and maybe even above and beyond, right? Maybe her power is locked behind some bit of constellation spendings for weapons, synergies, whatnot. Let's say if you didn't pull out Alhaitham, then you're missing an incredibly powerful composition with Deja that, well, Tignari just doesn't work. It has to be Alhaitham. You need Alhaitham, you need Nahida, and then you need Deja, and maybe like, I don't know, Yao or something like that at C4 or C6 to make Deja comps feel complete. I'm just giving examples, right? Stuff like that. They're not going to release Deja as a standalone character being wildly popular and hugely sought after while being incredibly powerful without the need of any 4-star support, and she's like just this universal character, perfect at 0, free to play. It's not gonna happen. It's like they have a cash bag and then they just dump it and have everybody pick up the money. No, the goal is they come in with an empty bag and have your money stuffed into the bag, right? So don't get this mixed up. When people say Alhaitham is going to be mid, I agree with them, but there's a catch, okay? Oftentimes, Hoyoverse will reward you quite handsomely in the long term if you choose to invest into somewhat weak characters from the get-go. Case in point being like Yoimiya, right? When she first came out, there was a lot about her that was just left to be desired for when it comes to synergies, supports, and just general power. And in due time, all of that was eventually given to her. Same with Yaimiko, right? When she first released, people were very upset. Her ceiling was very restricted until Dendro came around. Now, if she did have a rerun, people would oftentimes be like, okay, you know, she would be a pretty decent character to pick up. However, that is if you yourself enjoys playing these characters to begin with. Let's say if you don't enjoy the character and you're watching this videos in Walrus, that's a great idea. I'm gonna pick up Alhaitham even though I don't really like his playstyle, but I know I'll be rewarded 4 or 5 patches down the line, and then I don't have to wait for a rerun. That's really not a good idea. With the pacing that Hoyoverse is churning out these characters, you'll never be able to truly keep up with what they have to offer you. The best you can do is to stay relevant in a category that you choose. What I mean by category is like, okay, you want to construct certain teams, but ideally you want to find the centerpiece puzzle. Like it's like building a puzzle. You want to find that centerpiece that connects to all the pieces. You don't really want to hold on to a piece that only connects to one piece, if you know what I'm saying. That's why certain characters just hold more inherent value compared to others. If you're a free-to-play or a low spender, have very little money to dump into the game or resources, both being time or resin, whatever, it's in your best interest to pick up characters that fits to the most other characters. In the case of Dendro, Nahida, right? This character is the one that fits to the most compositions when it comes to Dendro related comps. And of course, she's an Archon. If you are watching this video, you don't have Nahida, I'm not saying you can't pick up Alhaitham or pick up Deja or pick up any Dendro characters. I'm saying you're missing like the best in slot central puzzle piece. However, characters like Tignari, characters like Alhaitham can still be very high functioning characters. Granted, you build and spec them to their strength and start collecting other pieces of the puzzle that fits their playstyle. For example, if you're playing Tignari, an Electro character is going to be pretty nice, an off-field one, Yaimiko or Fischl. Or you can run him with a Hydro character like Barbara or Kokomi. But if you don't have Kokomi, but lucky enough to pull a Mona, maybe that could slide in temporarily as well. Stuff like that. But if you have a bunch of Pyro characters and your Zhangling is insanely built with a Xingqiu, right? Maybe Tignari and Alhaitham might not lean very well to the characters you have. In that case, you might want to look towards characters such as Raiden Shogun to build a Raiden national team. Currently, right now, the big swirl in the community is that people are going to skip Alhaitham, at least the people who are massively into leaks and stuff and saying, well, he's not the character that he was presented to be a month ago or weeks ago when he was super strong. Like that's what people are saying. Apparently, he got nerfed. Okay, so I've made videos in the past talking about how, you know, he was never meant to be that strong and Hoyoverse only overtuned him on purpose to generate excitement, blah, 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 right? Doesn't matter. The fact is, apparently, the dude's not super strong. I mean, apart from Archons, when do we really get super strong characters, right? Like, I know this video is kind of jumping up, down, left, right for you guys, but you really have to understand what I'm trying to deliver. At the heart of this message is that it's to be expected. The dude is going to be a mid character. Nowadays, if you don't pull for like a couple constellations or a C6 4-star to support the character that runs with it, the character is going to feel quite average. And Dendro characters relying on their reactions, you can even underinvest into them and still have them perform extremely well. So there's really no need to worry about Alhaitham being underwhelming, because I feel like Deja's gonna be just as underwhelming for people. Like, oh, I'm skipping Alhaitham, I'm gonna go get Deja. He's gonna suffer the same fate, right? I don't even know what the hell she does right now. So really focus up and do some research, right? You want Alhaitham, he's a mid character, but let's pair him with some Aggravate, pair him with some Spread, pair him with some Hyper Bloom. Did you pull Nilou? Like if you pull Nilou, can he fit into a Nilou comp, right? Like these are things that you should be looking for as opposed to be like, is he strong? So instead of focusing on the general aspect of is he strong, because let's be honest, most of you guys watching right now don't even have all the characters. So even if, let's just pretend he's a broken ass character, but you don't have any of the pieces that make him broken, and then you pulled him, now you're just stuck with a character and nothing to facilitate any of his strength with. So when it comes to Genshin Impact, especially as a newer player, it's very difficult for you to even look at tier lists and actually get an accurate representation of these characters. Sure, the characters, maybe the first 5 or 6 characters at the very top of the tier list, will work for you regardless, because the reason they're at the very top is because they also work with the most amount of units. It doesn't matter what characters you have, you're going to be able to use these top 5-6 characters with so many different teams that it doesn't matter what you have. But when it comes to Alhaitham, when it comes to characters that are a couple tiers below, I think Alhaitham's going to be like a low A tier character or something like that. They have much less characters to work with. They can only be strong when fitted into teams that are essentially curated for them, if that makes any sense. And that's where the majority of Genshin characters fall under. In fact, if you look at the tier list, the top tier characters are the ones that make other people rise to their level. The lower on the tier list you get are characters basically that demands more help from characters higher up on the tier list. So essentially what I mean is that characters such as Tignari, such as Alhaitham, can only be strong. And yes, even if they're considered mid by meta standards, they can still be strong if you give them the right tools to succeed. So don't let things deter you just because people are saying he's mid, he's weak, or don't suddenly go crazy for him because people are saying he's insane, he's strong. Look at what you have and work around that. That's all I have to say for this video. I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow, so if you guys have any more questions about this kind of stuff, you can ask me in the live stream tomorrow. I wish you guys the best of luck, really, when summoning for these characters. And yeah, until next time, urge you to stay safe. Peace.